My name is Dolores Ortega Carter. I'm the Travis County Treasurer. It's a countywide office, and I've been in this position since 1987. And so hopefully, I'll have 4 more years, and then I can decide what I want to do when I grow up.
Speaking of growing up, yeah. Oh, and I forgot to tell you how to pronounce my name. It's really misleading because it looks like Andy, but it's Andee, like Gandhi, but without the G.
Andee.
Yeah. So you said that you're going to decide what you're going to do when you grow up. Can you tell us what got you into this while you're still trying to decide what you want to do? What's
Well,
your origin story?
yes, I'd be glad to. It was a very interesting conversation that I was having with a group of ladies back in 1985, 86. I had just moved to Austin and I was working for the state controller, Bob Bullock, and getting involved in all of the politics because when you work for an elected official, that's what's expected of you. So we had gone to a Texas Women's Political Caucus convention, and we were all sitting there deciding, we ought to go and try to take over the county. And they went, okay, let's do that. So some of us went for treasurer. One of us went for tax assessor collector. Another one went for county clerk. We had one went for county commissioner. And we all won that year in 86. And so we kind of took over the county, and there were a lot of older gentlemen in these positions that did not win reelection. And some of them had retired. So we kind of took over from there. And we became a force to be reckoned with at that time in trying to clean up Travis County and bring us into a century where women were, part of the decision making process. And then we've opened those doors ever since. And I was the first Hispanic woman elected countywide for Travis County. There had never been a woman or a Hispanic countywide. We had the precincts that were, given to the African Americans and the Hispanics by a gentleman's agreement way back in the day. And so I was the only woman elected countywide at that time, Hispanic woman, and an Aggie. So that was really different.
Wait a second. I'm a Longhorn.
I know. That's okay. Just so you vote, that's fine. We all need to get along and make the world better. So
Yes. Wow. Okay, you were telling that story and then I was actually getting chills because I feel like it was like at the time that so many women were entering politics in Texas and that was like my formative years. I graduated high school in 91. So you were making a difference for my future. So thank
yes,
you.
yes, we were. We were helping Ann Richards get to where she needed to be, and women. She was a county commissioner, and then she went to state treasurer, and then, of course, governor. Bless her heart. So those were the roads that we took, and of course, we opened a lot of doors. We really did. Very proud of that, and continue to do so. There are a lot of women in county government now, of all races, of all education backgrounds, that are making very important, valuable decisions for the democracy that we live in.
Can you tell us what exactly the county treasurer does? What does this position do?
Back in 1876 was when the Constitution of Texas was also initiated. Prior to that, of course, Texas was owned by the Mexican government, and so there were a lot of Spaniards that were involved in the decision making at that time. Well, in 1876, Texas became a state, so to speak. And at that time, the counties were founded. And so at that time, there were 254 counties that they divided the state of Texas into. So they looked at the commissioners for governance, for law enforcement, of course, the sheriff, and also at that time, the sheriff collected taxes. And then you had to have a place to put all those taxes, so you had a county treasurer. Then you had to have someone that overlooked the whole process, and that was your county auditor that came into play at that time. And so it evolved into a position that was pretty much like the banker for the counties, in that all the money was collected and the treasurer was in pretty much like a banking, so to speak. Well, the tax assessor has evolved to the point where it collects from various jurisdictions within the county. Remember that Travis County is one of 5 largest counties in the state of Texas. And so the tax collector collects all that money, what is due to Travis County, regardless of the, like Sun Valley, Lago Vista, those type of smaller metropolis municipalities. We all have to collect taxes from those because they are in Travis County. So all of Travis County comes to the county treasurer. Decision making on the process of spending that money comes from, of course, the commissioner's court and how we do our budgets and everything for all the elected officials that we have at Travis County. So not only does the county treasurer monitor those accounts, regulates those accounts, sets precedent of how they are to be reconciled and in accordance with departments that have evolved to like cash management, to the budget department and everything, where we all work together to see this is a lot of money. We're looking at in Travis County already almost getting to $3 billion revenues that come in. And so we have to provide investments as far as making sure we get the most interest on our money, your money that you pay as taxpayer. And so that is one of the biggest jobs that we do on a daily basis is monitor all the money that goes into the county depository and then how we're going to disperse that money. There's a check and balance system set up in all of that so that, we know where every penny is. And so we know how to spend every penny and we can project what a cash flow, so to speak, of how the money is going to be spent over the next year. And counties have a budget year. And here in Travis County, we start with October 1st through September 30th for our fiscal year. So that allows for us to provide foresight, cash management, cash flows of how the money is going to be spent. Also in the county treasurer's office, because of that oversight on that amount of money, back in the day, the county treasurer was the paying agent registrar for any bonds that were sold for the county's purpose, for infrastructure, for we called them capital obligations, like the roads, equipment to maintain the roads, flooding, everything, the infrastructure, so to speak, of counties. Because back in the day, you didn't have all these little municipalities, so you had to take care of garbage and water and all that kind of thing. And that was the county's responsibility. So as we did not have a lot of money coming in at that time, so the counties were able to sell bonds, meaning you could buy a bond for $25,000, invest your money in that, and you would get a return on that twice a year. And so that's what the county treasurer does. But I'm the only county treasurer in the state of Texas that does that. And we save Travis County on the average 1.5 million that we would pay to a broker or a financial advisor to handle that. So all of that is staying in-house and we save that money for you because you are the main scope as a taxpayer. So we look at saving things like that, ways to enhance any kind of protocols that we have within the county as well. Also, the county treasurer is the dispersing agent for all disbursements, paying agent as well for accounts payable, for payroll, and everything that transpires. Travis County, we have a sophisticated payroll system where it's done online and it's no longer a card that you put in and they punch way back in the day, and then you collect those cards and then Andee gets paid this amount for 2 weeks that you worked. And so it's more sophisticated, it's automated. We're using new technology in order to get that done and to pay our employees. Because when we started in 1987, we had about 2,500 maybe employees for county, Travis County. We are now at almost 7,000 employees here in Travis County to maintain the infrastructure and the services that we need as well. We've been hit a lot with a state legislature, which has kind of tied our hands at the county level, local government level, of what we can appraise your house at. Before we could say it was 8.25. Now it's dropped down to 3.5, which we have a gap there that we need to fill So therefore, the appraisal value of your house will go up to hopefully close that gap a little bit so that we can still provide the services of sheriff, fire, EMS, whatever it is that we need to do for you as far as infrastructure goes. So the county treasurer is very important in talking about all of the finances, to making sure that we have checks and balance systems in, that we know where every penny, and to this day, Travis County has never lost a penny and can account for every penny that we have in our budgeting system. So the investments, the paying agent registrar, the disbursements of funds, maintaining the banking relationships with the county depositories, maintaining relationships with other counties where you have like one county asking Travis County to do autopsies or handle their medical, their fire or volunteer firemen and things of that. They all work together with Travis County, regardless of where they are in the county. So that is pretty much the big things that we do in addition to, just kind of cleaning up here and there. So, yeah.
I didn't realize that you did investments as well.
Yes.
So, and
Yeah,
you said that so most of the county treasurers will do investments, but you're
exactly.
the only one who manages it. Yeah.
No, I'm the only
Bond.
one that can sell bonds, that can pay bonds. Yes, those bonds are usually done by a third party where that particular broker makes the money for selling a bond.
Hmm.
And those bonds are used for infrastructure for capital improvements. And so, like, remember the flood at Sandy Creek?
Hmm.
We used a lot of bond money to rebuild that bridge and everything because that's considered the infrastructure of Travis County. So we had to use a lot of the money that we had in reserve to maintain that, and we'll probably have to sell more bonds to build up that area as well. So Travis County is huge. It goes almost all the way to Marble Falls, almost pretty much, way past Bee Caves and everything, almost to Elgin, south to pretty much the city limits of Buda, and then north to almost to Round Rock, the city limits of Round Rock. It's a huge county as far as real estate goes. We have a huge county and a lot of infrastructure there. You have Lake Travis, you have Valenti, you have all those beaches and everything. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff to look at from the county perspective.
Is there like a city treasurer too, or is the city falls under the county?
Yes, because they do collect some kind of a tax, a municipal
Okay.
tax. And I'm glad you brought that up because we have what we call a mixed beverage tax that also comes from the state controller, but that goes to the city. And so we don't, and hotel tax, we don't, counties do not get a hotel tax. When you go stay at a hotel, you'll see on there's a state tax, a local tax. That local tax goes to that city. Right now, counties are not getting that. Hopefully, we will in this legislative session. We'll be working on that. So I don't know. We can.
I'm appreciative of the hotel tax because I'm a recipient of one of the grants that they give to the artists
Good.
using the
Right.
hotel tax to kind
Yes.
of,
And that's a
like
good
you
thing.
said, supporting the people, right? So,
Correct. And the arts. Yeah, because
the art.
otherwise you would not have funding
Yeah.
allowed under that. And that's good that they use that. I think the city of Boston does use that tax for that. Yeah, that's wonderful.
I'm very proud of the city for doing that and
Yes.
very lucky to be a recipient. So,
Congratulations. I'm glad you
yeah.
are.
Oh, thank you so much. So that is very helpful because when it's not your career or your life, it gets very
Right.
confusing,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
so then based on that, I can surmise some of the important skills or experiences that a person would need in order to be able to do your job. So, what in your background, you've been doing it for so long, it feels like just the fact that you've been doing it so long, you're prepared to do this job. What were your skills or experiences that you had that really help you in this position?
I went to Texas A&M to be a principal in education, so I have a master's in education administration. However, while I was there, I got a call from the admissions director that the state senator in Brazos County needed some assistance. So I said, okay, I'll be glad to do that as a part time job. And so I went and worked for him and learned a lot about county government, state government, and all of and everything I needed. So after I got my master's, I asked him if he would help me get to Austin, and that's where I got the job with the state controller. Well, I think I know that my education gave me the foundation to organize, to collaborate, to look in the future of how things were doing or should be done and how we can improve things at that time. And so when I went to work for Bob Bullock, he was one of the very first ones that had a computer that was local governments didn't have computers. I mean, we didn't have them. It was back in the 80s, and it wasn't a thing. But he did. He initiated a lot of technology within the state controller's office, which we had to learn and which we were grateful to learn. But by my education and my background, I was able to kind of slide in there and take hold and learn as much as I could. And so when I became county treasurer, then that's where county treasurer's office was the first office to have a computer in Travis County. And I went, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Nobody else has a computer. So by that time, the auditor got one, and then we started, being more innovative and looking forward to how we were going to use technology with a rapidly growing county. And so that's where my background helped me collaborate, learn, continue to learn about new technology and new things that are coming up. As county treasurer, you have to have 20 hours per year of continuing education, and that is sponsored by a university in collaboration with the Texas Association of Counties. And that kind of brings us all together in a group so we can talk about things that are happening in the legislature. So they provide education for us of the newest things that we can learn. We go to AI technology. There's one coming up in October that I'll be going. I went to last year. Investments, everything that pertains to our particular office. We structure the agenda so that we're continuously learning about new technology, new things that are coming up, how we can improve what we're doing, or does it need improving, or should we improve it, and that sort of thing. So it's a lot of education that we do every year for 20 hours, in addition to an investment academy. And like I said, now this technology academies that are coming up. We also have a legislative academy that we go to where we prepare to talk about what are we going to do. Our biggest concern in this regard with legislation, they come in every 2 years, the state legislature, and they're coming in January. There's going to be an issue with data centers, and there'll also be an issue with the lack of pennies that are being produced by the federal government. And the reason that is important is that these revenue company departments within the counties, like the sheriff,
Mm-hmm.
constables, precincts, all those that deal with clients, I should say, that come into the jail or that are processed, may have $20.04 in their pocket. Well, when their case is dismissed or finally, comes to a climax and it's over, they want their $20.04. Well, the federal government doesn't make any more. The banks are not having any more money. Where are we going to get the 4 cents? Now,
Wow.
I know. According to the Constitution and the legislation that we have in place, we cannot counties cannot increase the 1 cent to 4 cents to 5 cents, nor can we decrease the 4 cents to zero, because that's your money. I mean, even in taxes and everything. So we're being stuck with this type of a decision. How are we going to handle it? Legislation has to tell us what to do. Now, the tax assessors collectors can get there, can ask, say, do you want it? We'll forgive your 4 cents that you owe for your motor vehicle. Therefore, would you like to donate it to a charity? And you'll say, sure, absolutely. Okay, we'll do that. And the 4 cents go, well, 4 cents will add up and add up and add up to something.
Mm-hmm.
But the other elected officials that are revenue producing cannot do that. So now we got to go in there and work on legislation to clean that up. And just remember that since 1876, a lot of this legislation is so old. It needs to be updated. And as new things pop up, then that's where we're challenged at the local level to go and update this legislation. So that'll be something that we'll be looking at. And of course, the big thing about data centers will take a front stage, I believe. It is important because it does challenge our infrastructure. So
Mhm.
interesting, a lot of fun things.
Yeah.
So did I get off track? I don't think.
No, well,
That kind
you were kind of going into the next
yeah,
question,
yeah,
but then I you I think that's like, as a voter, you just want to elect the people and let them do the job, right? Trust that they're
yes,
doing the job, because that one little tiny example of the pennies is something that, the federal government decided, and it has this effect that just kind of dominoes.
always,
And
always.
you're like, the people he need to be in the people in the positions that they are need to know what they're doing,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And one of our
Um,
big things will be grants. We're not getting a lot of grants from the federal government. And that's to help with the homeless and homing, housing and homing all of the people that are homeless. And so it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge. And we do work with the National Association of County Organization that's in Washington that helps us as a organization that's there right in the front, not in the reflecting pool, but in the lawn, so to speak. So they can be there to say, "Oh, the counties better jump in here and say something about it." But our biggest concern right now are the grants. We're not getting the money that we did from the federal government, and that's a big challenge because are we going to help? Or are we not? And if we do, we can't get the Fed money, but we'll have to get it from the taxpayers, and that's not fair either. Big challenges, big challenges ahead. It's going to be a fun legislative session. But all of that help came about from the background of knowing what to do at the college level, your courses and everything, outlining everything that you needed to do and how to get that A, so to speak. So that's what we're doing now. We're using everything we can, all the resources we have to get that A to make sure that counties are taken care of because I believe one of the questions is what was my quote that I remember?
yeah.
And I did the learn was, we're doing the Lord's work, so to speak. I'm taking care of you. I'm taking care of me. I'm taking care of the future, hopefully, so that you don't see such a change by any obstacles that come from the federal level, state level, or wherever. But we have to take care of the people that got us here, in addition to making sure that your future, my future is, and the future of my nieces and nephews, and your children and your family, there is a future for them. So you have to be able to think ahead, out of the box. What are we going to do? And collaborate with legislatures who don't think like you. How do we get you to understand that there's a problem with this penny? There's a problem with data centers. There's a problem that we're not getting grants. And so, how are we going to address those issues? It's going to be a challenge. I think all the years that I've been here since 87, I believe this next legislative session will be a challenge. We're looking at some new things that have come up as far as challenges for local governments, and it's not a pretty sight. I'm sorry, but we've got to. There are things we have to do, and you're going to have to really collaborate. And I don't like the word fight for what we want, but we're going to have to really collaborate to our as hard as we can to make sure that we get what we need for our constituents, for our taxpayers as well. And so that phrase, doing the Lord's work, that's exactly what that means. Because I have to know that at the end of the day, I've done everything I can for you. I've invested as much as I can for you. And hopefully the return will make a little bit of dent in the deficit that we're seeing at this time. Yeah, Travis County is looking at a budget deficit. We're looking at insurance rates that are going up almost 9%. Our people will have to pay that, but their salary is not going up 9%.
Right.
So what do we do? And then you, as a taxpayer, more gas, you can't afford an EV vehicle. Can we afford groceries? I don't know. It's going to be
Yeah.
difficult. It's really a challenging time for all of us.
When you started, like how long has the federal government been giving grants to counties? When did that begin?
Since the end of time, since the beginning of time that I
Okay.
know of. And
Okay.
one of the things that we did way back in 1876 was the legislature at that time decided, we need some colleges. So let's do two land grant colleges. And that was where UT came from, and that's where A&M. Of course, it was a agriculture and mechanical school at that time. And so to this day, what they did was they gave each of those schools a portion of the mineral and the oil grazing rights all over the state and gave it. That's how those two schools were funded. Well, I think UT is still doing that. Some of the counties have sold their rights and everything to whomever, but Travis County still has all of their rights. Our grazing rights, oil royalties, mineral royalties are in Throckmorton. The county treasurer also administers and maintains that leases and everything and making sure that we're getting paid for what we need. And that money goes back into the independent school districts. That means that if you live in Travis County, but your children are going to Pflugerville, then we pay Pflugerville out of that money. It's not kept by the county at all. It's to enhance the municipal or the not municipal, yeah, the municipalities or the ISDs within the county so that they have a source of revenue so they can keep going. But now you're seeing the fiasco of not getting state money. All they're getting now are the few cents, 27,000 maybe, or 10,000 or 8,000. And that's not enough to supplement what it is that they're spending at the ISDs and the consolidated school districts. So the county treasurers do that. Very few of the counties still have the what we call the available school fund. And University of Texas, and that's where I learned what I maintained as well when I worked for Bob Bullock, the university fund and the public university fund. And all of that came from which funds the UT and A&M to this day by investments and everything of that money. It's huge amounts of money that goes in there. Yeah.
What is it that you do in order to try to grasp or claw back or get some of the things that the money that we deserve or need? What do you do in order to get that back when the legislation and the federal government is all doing, taking the money for other reasons?
You just have to present your case, and we're going to have to really present our cases and saying this is what is happening because you're not funding this particular cause or this grant or whatever. Plus, you cannot take away from us the ability to tax the taxpayers to provide some of the services that they need, like sheriff, fire, and all of the above, infrastructure upgrade. You just have to go in there with a compromising attitude and say, I'm willing to work with you, but please work with us. This is what we need. How can we reach a consensus here that we can get what I want and you can get what you want and we both look fine, but we're taking care of our constituents? That is the hard part. That's the hard part. Having that finesse, having that knowledge, knowing that you can't really tell them what you really want to say, but that you have to be a lady with grace and with some a bit of power, so to speak, that you know what you need and you convince them to do so. Now, some of them, there's no convincing, and you have to know when to fold them. And that also takes a lot of gut, intestinal fortitude to know, nah, I'm not budging you from your value. That's okay, but thanks for your help anyway. But please don't be an impediment to us. Just stand back and let us get what we need. And that's where all that finesse comes. And these hearings and everything that we go to and testify at, and The hearings are just okay. You're there for, yeah, we did it. We listened to you, but the real jobs are behind the scenes. You have to visit all these legislatures. You have to talk to them like you and I are talking, and say, look, we really need this. This is what the counties need. You just can't cut it off. Local governments, whatever, you know. And the state has the same agencies as well, and workforce and all those other places that are at state levels. And so the real education comes, the real knowledge comes from, hopefully what I learned at college was, I can't tell that professor what to do. He can tell me what I need to know. I'll go in there and learn it, do the best I can, think out of the box, and then work with him and say, hey, I really need this D, or I really need this C. So you just have to learn how to be in a collaborative frame of mind, and knowing that, no, you don't go in there thinking, I'm going to show him, I'm going to show her, I'm going to tell her. No, 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 no. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I found. That doesn't work.
Collaboration. I feel like that's missing many times nowadays. So
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No kings, no
Yeah.
queens, no nothing. We have to work together on this stuff, or
Yeah.
nothing's going to get done.
If you were designing, I guess, a new system, would you change anything or do you feel like it worked before?
I think it works great right now. I think the system works, and you have to have all of those factors, whether they be elected officials or appointed officials, to bring in the information that you need to make the decision for the local governments. I think the structure is working, the internal structure is working, at least in Travis County. And I know that there are challenges in the other 253 counties within the state of Texas that, have to address some challenges that are coming up that they foresee as well. But sometimes business as usual is a good thing. But knowing in your mind you've got to think out of the box.
I don't know if you've received any kind of pushback, but if you have, what is it and how would you respond to it?
One of the things that we have been addressed with at the county level is the abolishment of the county treasurer, an abolishment of constables, an abolishment of JPs. You have this people that think, while getting rid of elected officials, that you're getting rid of the budget itself, but you're not, because you still, according to the Constitution of the state of Texas, you still have to have those positions that do that type of work. And so by just eliminating a position is not going to take it away at all, because you still have to do that. So county treasurers have been challenged with that type of a mindset. And so we've had to educate the commissioners, the judges, the legislators, and trying to get them to not put it on the ballot or talk about it, and educate them as far as what the importance of the county treasurer's position is, or the JP position, or the constable's position. And so those are just challenges that we look at. We've had in the past. We've lost 9 county treasurers since 1876. And so hopefully we won't lose any more, knock on wood. But you just never know. Maybe the county treasurer, that person did something bad. Maybe they didn't play the game with the court. I don't know. Whatever the reason that happens, we can't worry about the personalities. We're worried about the position itself. So we work together with the Texas Association of Counties to make sure that every elected official is represented and is shown the importance in the structure of that county government. And so that's why we have all this education. We work together with judges, commissioners, auditors, everybody, to try to make sure that they understand each position, the importance of each position. And then we can go out to the public, to you, Andee, and say, look, this is why my office is important. This is what I do. I'm taking care of your money and that sort of thing. And that's why I hope that you reelect me as your county treasurer, or your constable, or your JP. So that's we have been challenged with that in the past.
Yeah. Now, I know you told us earlier all the stuff that you do as a county treasurer, but
Mhm.
in like a very quick like nutshell, if the county treasurer position was just abolished and gotten rid of,
Mhm.
what would happen?
The responsibilities of the county treasurer would be transferred to another elected official, probably.
Oh, it would be transferred?
Yeah.
Oh, I always thought you would be like, okay, then we wouldn't be collecting bonds. We wouldn't do this. And
Yeah.
then it would
Well,
all just
that's
kind
what
of
I
fall
mean.
apart.
You still have to do the
Yeah.
work, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't have the elected position there.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
you still have to do the work.
And the other position, the other people in the other positions are doing
Just
enough as
getting
it
all
is. So like,
exactly. So they
yeah,
would get all the county treasurer's budgeting and everything and go in there. My budget's not that much. It's only 900,000. And
yeah,
because I'm very conservative in making sure there are 8 people in my office that do all the real work. But yet one of the main things that we do is monitor the armored car services. Before they used to bring money to my office, and now it's so much money we have to have an armored car. So we monitor that as well. So another elected official would have to do that and everything. So the responsibilities would still be there. But going to the ballot box and going to vote would not be for that position.
yeah,
County treasurer or constable, because they have also been challenged as well, and JPs. I mean, people think, oh, we'll just eliminate those positions. Well, that's
yeah,
maybe 100,000, 90,000 a year for that
yeah,
salary. We don't make much money, I promise you.
yeah,
No, we don't. And we're glad because, like I said, we go back to we're doing the people's work. We're doing the
yeah,
Lord's work. And that's pride and in public service. Public
yeah,
service. If I wanted to get rich, I would have gone and got my PhD and went to the moon or something. I don't know. But that's not where that's not what I wanted to do. I'm doing the Lord's work, and I enjoy doing public service, and that's all. I love it.
Do you have a story that captures what you love about working for the people?
I love going out and just talking about the county treasurer's position and the office. I'm involved in Rotary, Girl Scouts, and all those, and know that that they can look up to me because Girl Scouts were very important to me as I was growing up. I just love that I have the opportunity and I can represent something to another generation and to people within my own little circle here that we're okay and we're doing good and I enjoy what I'm doing and hopefully you can aspire to be in my position one day. So, yeah,
Yeah, getting to
I
talk to
know.
people. Excellent. Sometimes I feel like there's an existential crisis going on with what's happening in our democracy right now. So, do you have any, I guess, hope? Like what is working for our democracy right now?
I think what you said, hope, because if we don't have hope, then we don't have the drive to go and make things better and at the same time maintaining a status quo. We're always going to be attacked by, I'll call it the evil one, whatever the evil one means, by adversaries. But like I said, when you talk to the legislatures and people like that and trying to get your point across of what you would want them to vote on or do or whatever, you have to maintain that in order to know that the result of what you're doing is going to maintain this democracy. It's not about what's best for me. It's what's best for democracy, not a Democrat, not a Republican, not an independent, green, whatever you want to call yourself. It's democracy. It's the right thing to do. And we have to know what the right thing is to do. We're not teaching our kids that. And that's sad. And that's why when you say I go out and I visit with kids and schools and adopt schools and that sort of thing, being a role model for them is probably the most important thing because being a role model for you, hopefully, and you're a role model for me and everyone else, we have to see that we're okay. We're confident in what's going to happen. We can't be tense and out of sorts and worry and no, because then that whole attitude goes forward and we cannot do that. So I think resting assured that I'm doing the best I can do and you're doing the best you can do to make sure that we maintain the democracy that we're so proud of and that we're working with it, the people as well, like the data centers, those people that we've got to collaborate with to make sure that the people that want them understand you're tearing up our world. Look at it. Look at what you're doing. Just having that attitude, I think, is going to help us in maintaining it. We just can't panic, although we'd like to. But you can come home and you can scream in your four walls, but when you're out there and people can see you, say, no, 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 no. Take a deep breath. We're going to do it, and we'll make it by the grace of God. And I think, I don't want to get religious here, but I think my faith has really been instrumental in making sure that I walk the narrow path, the straight path to where I think is best for not only me, but for you and for future generations. So it's a challenge, but it's okay. We can handle it.
And I imagine that you've encountered many legislations or legislators who throughout the years, and it's a constant up and down, like you
Always.
said earlier, of figuring out how to work with the people you have at that time.
Yeah. But I can't
Yeah.
work with my siblings, but I can work with everybody else. Or my puppies.
Family doesn't count. So,
Can't work with my puppies either. They don't mind.
yeah.
Or listen, they go, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we got to maintain the sense of humor, definitely. And that's what I tell my staff, have fun doing it. If you don't have fun doing what we're doing, then it's time for you to move on.
Yeah, because that's where you're spending most of your
Exactly.
time. So,
Exactly.
well, do you have any ideas about how you talked about being role models, but are there any other tangible ways that we as civic-minded citizens can help with democracy on both the local and or national levels?
Just being involved in other organizations as well. I'll mention the Rotary. When I first joined the Rotary, it was like, oh, really? What do y'all do? And so I think just going out and voicing the opinions, the things that we need, such as bringing in speakers that people. I'd love to have you someday talk to us as well about what you do and how you help the community, and making that collaboration with a lot of people within the county itself, I think will help us in getting out there and getting our message across. And I think that's the only thing that we can do with that regard.
I think that it's going to become the preferred way of interacting, you know, because we've gone so far into the tech in the future that we're not actually engaging with people one-on-one anymore. So I feel like in some ways we're going to get so tired of all the technology that we're going to crave these one-on-one interactions.
Yes. But I think, I see it cyclical. I see, and I pray that it's cyclical, because all this looks good, looks good, looks good. But then you're going, no, now I'm getting invitations to conferences to say, is AI really that good? Is really that what you need? And now they're questioning themselves, where back in the last week, they were saying it's the greatest thing since, sliced bread. And so now they're questioning themselves about technology and things that are out there. And that's a good thing. So that I hope and I pray that, like I said, that it is cyclical.
Mhm.
It's a new thing. Everybody thought the iPhone was a great thing. And now you go, no, it knows everything I talk
I know.
about. It knows what I'm thinking.
Right now.
It's following me. It's following me.
Uh-huh.
So that's not a great thing. And you go, okay. So now we're learning more stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. Is that your kitty?
Now that's one of my cats. One fancy name and one not so fancy.
Mine are not fancy. Mine's named Puppy and Chico.
Oh.
Puppy was my dad's because my dad had Alzheimer's and he couldn't remember the name. So he just called him Puppy. So when he passed, I took over and just kept him as Puppy. He's a little Chiweenie. And then when my sister-in-law passed, she had Chico, and so I just took Chico over. So I just a rescue place over here.
I thought that getting to talk to you first was a sign, because one of my projects is an audio drama or a fiction podcast. And the main characters in the story, one of the main characters' name is Dolores. And so I was like,
Oh, how
it's a
kind.
sign that were ready to talk to me first. It's about end of life autonomy. And we're doing these listening clubs around it. And as we're learning about preparations and things, the animals is one of those things that you have to think about. Like, if something happens to you, what's going to happen to your pets?
Yeah, because I know that my nieces and nephews will take them because they were family to begin with. And so there, should anything happen to me, heaven forbid. But on your character, is it D-O or D-L?
It's
D-E-L.
it's D-O. Yeah,
D-O.
D-O.
So Dolores is Spanish, you know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Spanish word for pain and sorrow. So I was a lot of pain and sorrow to my mother, I guess. Dolor de la cabeza. Headache. It was a headache. I was the first, so it probably was bad. Bless her heart. And then she had 5 after me, so
Oh my goodness.
may she rest in peace.
Yeah.
Bless her little heart.
Whereas your family always in Texas, or
Yes.
yeah? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we were born and raised. Everybody was from Texas, but
How
that
far
doesn't
back do
mean
you
we can't.
go? Do you go back to when it was under Mexican?
Yes, Espinosa's and Ortega's and way back. Yeah,
Yeah,
way back in the day. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
way
yeah.
back yonder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And where are you from?
So I was born in Corpus Christi,
Okay.
and then I went to school here, then moved to New York. But my parents came in. So my parents were from Missouri and Maryland. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Well,
I
that's
actually
good.
wasn't.
I
I was
like
born
Corpus.
in Robstown, right next to Corpus
I was
Christi.
going to
Yeah.
say, oh my gosh, you're kidding. I have family in Robstown.
Ah!
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, the Garcias and blah, blah, on and on. More people. Familia all over.
Is there anything else that you want to share that we didn't get to discuss?
I would like to share that I hope everyone gets out and votes in November. Don't let anything stop you. Let me know. I'll be available to drive you there or whatever. But we need to maintain our democracy and show that we are in control of our destiny and not have someone else decide that for us, which they're trying to do. And so I think we can all work together to that end as well. So I hope get out the vote and encourage everybody else to vote for our democracy. Democracy, definitely.
That is our privilege, right, in this country.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Beautiful. For the final thing, is there a question that you'd like to ask your constituents or all of us that people could answer online on the socials?
What prohibits you from voting? What is it that keeps you from going to the polls? Do we have to give you a free taco or something like that? I don't know.
Free tacos.
Why do people not vote? I mean, I can't give you the free taco, but I mean, metaphorically, how can we get you to the polls? And so let me know. I would be glad to work with that area and do what I can to make sure you get there.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So
Thank you so much, Andee.
thank you, Dolores.
It's a pleasure meeting
It was
you, and I
such a
hope to
pleasure
see you
talking
again.
with you.
Call
Yes.
me anytime, and I'm going to call you to talk to us at Rotary.
Yeah, yeah, that would be very fun.
Would that be good?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.